So,
Mhm.
there is a woman, she's 50,
Okay.
and as a child, she was diagnosed with severe eczema and
Okay.
uh, nut and shellfish allergies.
Okay.
So she stuck with that understanding until maybe about 10 years ago. She still doesn't
Okay.
eat the shellfish, and she definitely, um, she can eat peanuts, but she doesn't eat any tree nuts. And so then she realized that she was just becoming inflamed all the time. And
Mhm.
there was somebody on a call not long ago. They had the like purple sores. Um, and they had originally, I think, been diagnosed with eczema as well, but the purple, like when the eczema clears up, the purple was left. And this person has that too. Like after the eczema, like the eczema will look like ringworm almost, but it's not ringworm. And then if the flakiness of the so-called eczema fades away, she's left with these purple marks that almost look like bruises. Um,
Mm.
and her so this inflammatory response now in adulthood goes beyond eczema to the point that it even gets in her eyes.
Oh my
Her
God.
her
That's serious.
eyes completely swell. Um Almost like, like a severe pollen reaction, maybe. But
Mhm.
her eyes are like bulging, swollen, inflamed when this happens. It's not constant, but it happens. So she went for allergy testing, and then the allergist said, "Oh, well, actually, you don't have eczema. These are all food allergies." And so now she's got this gigantor list of, like, 30 things she's not supposed to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so she found out that I've been talking to you, and she's like, "Can you just ask him, please?"
Yeah. That's the thing with allergies, like food allergies, respiratory allergies, skin allergies, they really are intertwined. And even when we were going through and treating, I ran a study back about, um, it's been almost 20 years ago now. And we were treating different kinds of allergies, and we were looking at food allergies. We had 102 participants that we went through and treated with a wide range of allergies. And the thing with the food allergies was that when we did things with like clearing up the lymphatic system, stimulating the nerve function of the gut, and treating the skin, that most times that actually substantially reduced the food allergies, even to the point where they were just resolved. And then one other piece that we added in that was relaxing the diaphragm. Just because the diaphragm will compress some of the lymphatic vessels, and it basically makes the gut like toxic, like it can't detoxify. And so, we were doing that with both essential oils and with energy healing. And so I'll just go through and revisit some of the things to address. I can write up a little protocol for you, like that's a combination or a hybrid of these things.
Okay.
But basically, like the ANS, which is you're stimulating the nerve function of the gut. And, you could say it a bunch of different ways, but the nerves in the gut don't have the sensitivity, like if you sit on your foot, that your foot's asleep, right?
Mhm.
But in your gut, if muscles go to sleep because of stress or compression, body misalignments, anything of this nature, you don't really know it because you don't have the sensory input like you would on your skeletal muscles. And so a lot of times we'll have neurological issues in the gut and be completely unaware of it. Like you can take a scalpel and cut the small intestine or the liver, you wouldn't feel a thing,
Mhm.
right? So in medical aromatherapy, we refer to this like component as the neurovegetable component, just the automatic part of the nervous system that is running the gut, and the ANS support works really well for this. But if you looked at individual oils, like things like rosemary, tarragon, anise or anise, All of these are very good for rehabbing the neurological function of the gut. And sometimes this will resolve some of it, but when somebody has such severe issues, you're probably going to have to do a bit of a multifaceted approach, but all concentrated on the same area. So one would be ANS support, right? Or one of those single oils to go through and treat that. That would need to be internal. Be it the rosemary, the tarragon, the anise, or the ANS support, a couple of drops daily, even 2 times a day would be probably even a little bit better. Then we'd want to look at lymphatic function, but also just calming down some of the, relaxing the fascia of the gut. And so, we have that blend Digestive Calm that's already in a body tonic. It's ready to go, but you could also buy it and make your own body tonic. But basically rubbing that on the abdomen on a daily basis, like preferably before bed. But really the person could do it at any time during the day. That could also be helpful because you're opening up the fascia and you're helping the organs to function better. And if there is any sort of body misalignment, it kind of helps to unwind some of that. And it helps to unwind some of the psoas, which is the hip flexors that's on the back or the front side of the spine, which can contribute to some of this. And it also helps to relax the diaphragm. Right? Then I would treat also like lymphatic function. You can use, if you just want to use single oils, you could use bay laurel. Bay laurel would probably be your best bet individually. We do have like a digestive lymph that you could use, or just like the lymphatic blend. And, the chakra root cleanser that we talk about a lot is also a lymphatic stimulant. And so you could actually even use that on the abdomen, and that would help to detoxify. And to take it a step further, I always like the idea of using something to open up the health rays. And, you could use the health ray blend or helichrysum, and then things like basil or petitgrain, coffee, lavender, all of those help to open up those inner health rays. And the blend that I use that opens up the inner health rays is a blend called Spasmophilia. And it just means like a moderate amount of tension stimulates spasms in the body. Mechanical stresses, tension, even emotional stresses will cause the body to go into like abnormal like spasms. And part of that is just the inner health rays are so wound up that the body becomes toxic. And so opening up the health rays is a way to stimulate the body's ability to detoxify physically, emotionally, and can help to detoxify stress. And a lot of times issues with the gut is just prolonged periods of stress on the digestive tract where it just starts functioning abnormally. And the issue there is that it's not always emotional or mental stress. Sometimes it's just physical stresses. The body's out of alignment, the body's in pain, or the body's fatigued, or they have a hard work schedule, or emotionally, mentally, they might have been doing meditation and have calmed everything down, but the body still gets like triggered and goes into this agitated state. And so I really don't get too concerned about like why it's happened. I usually just try to unwind it. And if there is something still contributing, it usually presents itself and then I treat it. And so let's see, we go there. Then a lot of times the skin starts clearing up even by doing this. But if you wanted to go through and do a little extra on the skin, especially since there's things like eczemas and things like this, is you could use a couple of different oils. Spikenard, also known as Jatamansi, It's very fortifying to the skin. It's very balancing to the skin. It can really help to like normalize skin. But when you're starting to look at things like eczema, you want to go to something that's got a little bit more like targets the eczema a little bit more specific. And when you're dealing with allergies, sometimes you kind of have to do a little hit and miss and see what kind of works, because people have different skin types and they don't always respond the same to the treatment. And so kind of my first go-to things for really severe eczema is usually Kunzia. And that is an oil that comes out of Australia and it's not like in the family of Maluka, but it's usually in that genre of Maluka, being like tea tree and Neoli and Kayuput. And the thing that's interesting with like Europe and Australia is they will use anecdotal information that has been generated by physicians to say that this can treat something. Where here in the US, if it hasn't been tested by FDA and FDA standards, they won't necessarily say that you can treat something with this particular, substance. So natural things don't usually get tested. But in places like Europe and Australia, if enough doctors go through and treat something, they'll go, yeah, based on anecdotal information, this is really good for, whatever the condition is. And Australia recognizes Kunzia as one of the natural remedies that will treat eczema, even severe eczema. And so, they can put it on labels, they can, people can make the claim that it's actually for eczema. And so, when it's met the standard in certain countries or certain regions, I would take that as a pretty solid choice. And through the years, we've used eczema, and it doesn't work every time, but it works more than it doesn't. And, skin can be really tricky. And so, I remember talking with a doctor who specialized in skin issues. And I was like, what's the cause of this? Or what's the cause of that? And he goes, a lot of times we don't even know. We just treat. We just go through and treat it. And so the other one would be Palmarosa. And Palmarosa, excuse me, Palmarosa is a little bit like a sweeter smelling. It smells a little bit like rose. And can be very good for eczema. And sometimes if the eczema is like weepy, like, it has like a little bit of fluid that the eczema generates, then I tend to go Palmarosa instead of Kunzia. But either way, those are two really good choices to start off with. And with that, they could do it in salt baths, they could do it in a lotion. You could probably even get away with doing like a body tonic, but instead of just alcohol, I would probably do it more with a lot of witch hazel, just because the witch hazel would be a little bit gentler on the skin. Yeah.
And
I can write all that up for you. We'll splice this up
great. Okay.
to the person. But
okay, thank you. And I forgot to mention that she also has neuropathy, but based on what you just described, I'm guessing that the neuropathy is just another end result of what you're just describing.
Yeah, neuropathy, a lot of times what we try to do with neuropathy is stimulate lymphatic movement and like things that are like venous tonics. And, it's not necessarily treating the nerve directly, but you're taking pressure off the nerves and you're helping to detoxify the tissue, which will help protect the nerve. Anytime you want to protect nerves, any form of like regular sages will work. So like sage, Spanish sage, Dalmatian sage, sage triloba, all those kinds of sages have like a neuroprotective component to it. Keeps the nerve from getting too damaged. But venous tonics and lymphatic stimulants also are really good for that, because you're removing the toxicity that will eventually cause damage to the nervous system.
I took the best notes I can, and I look forward to receiving the write-up.
Yeah,
Thank you
well,
both
we'll
so
cut this
much.
up and snip this up for you, and
And I have in the chat, I don't know if it'll make sense to you, but I tried to keep it in order for you too, but we'll get something emailed to you.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sam.
and keep us posted. You know, sometimes you gotta troubleshoot these things. If you run it by me, I can try to help troubleshoot if it's not responding.
Okay,
Yeah.
safe travels to you guys this week.
Oh, thank you, thank you.